Sunflowers. There are quite a few videos and articles out there telling you why you should plant sunflowers in your garden. In fact, I just did one of those videos myself. I love sunflowers, but some of my vegetable plants don't seem to love them. Did you know sunflower has a nasty little secret? They are allelopathic, meaning they release chemicals that inhibit the growth of other plants. And they give off these chemicals from all parts of the plant, including roots, leaves, stems, flowers, and even seeds. Studies are being done to see if the chemicals sunflowers produce can be turned into potential organic herbicides. I have always planted a few sunflowers with my vegetable plants in the garden every year. However, this year, I made a huge mistake and decided to plant a lot more sunflowers than normal, and I interplanted them in most of my raised beds. In past years, I have never noticed any negative effects from growing sunflowers alongside my vegetable plants. In fact, sunflowers attract a lot of bees for pollination and birds for pest management. They also act as trap crops for bad bugs. Sunflowers have always been my ally in the garden. This year though, because I have planted so many of them, I have observed some negative effects, and I will share with you in this video. First, let me show you 2 melon plants that are not planted with sunflowers. As you can see, these 2 melon plants are green and healthy. There are 7 melons growing nicely on these 2 plants currently. Oh, look at those good-looking melons. So these are the 2 healthy melon plants that are not planted next to sunflowers. Now, let me show you 5 melon plants that are planted around 2 sunflowers in an 8x4 raised bed. There are 9 melons growing in this raised bed currently. The leaves of the melon plants in this raised bed with sunflowers don't seem as green and healthy as the melon plants that are growing without sunflowers around. They also seem to need watering quite a bit more frequently. But to be honest, I probably would not have really noticed the negative effects of sunflowers from this raised bed if I didn't have more to compare with. Because the melon plants in this raised bed still produce plenty of melons. Now, let me show you a small 4x4 raised bed planted with 3 sunflowers and 3 melon plants. All of my melon plants in the garden were planted at the same time in April. However, these 3 melon plants in this raised bed don't seem to grow much at all. They don't have any melons on them. As you can see, the growth of the melon plant is affected. They're stunted. This is not normal growth. The crazy thing is, the sunflowers planted in this bed grew nice and tall and beautiful with super thick stems. You almost have to cut them down with a chainsaw. You can easily observe the negative effect of sunflowers with this raised bed. Okay, now the last raised bed. This 16 by 4 raised bed has 5 sunflowers planted in the center. After the sunflowers came up a bit in the spring, I planted 6 melon plants surrounding the sunflowers in April. The melon plants in this raised bed grew a tiny little bit. Then one by one, the melon plants died. Only 2 melon plants are still hanging on, and they look really sad and are barely alive. Each of the surviving melon plant in this raised bed has one tiny fruit, but the fruits don't grow. They're actually kind of soft when I squeeze them. After so many melon plants died in this raised bed, I had open space, so I planted a sweet potato slip and basil. I planted the sweet potato slip back in mid-May. As you can see here, this sweet potato plant never grew. It still looks the same as the day I planted it in this exact spot. Let me show you the sweet potato slips that I'm growing in my grow bag for the deer that live on our property. These sweet potato slips were planted at the same time, but as you can see, sweet potato is growing much better in the grow bag. And just for reference, I have already cut the sweet potato vines in the grow bag a few times to give to visiting deer as treats. Now, let's look at the poor basil. It was planted in this spot mid-May after the melon plants died and the spot opened up. I'm also growing basil in a grow bag as well as in my herb spiral. The basil in grow bag and herb spiral are doing great, but the basil planted next to so many sunflowers is stunted. It is growing really slowly. This basil grown in my herb spiral is grown in the shade, but it is still growing much better than the one that's growing next to the sunflowers. Sunflowers have so many benefits in a garden, but after my observation this year, I will only be planting sunflowers in my garden paths or specific spots instead of heavily interplanting sunflowers with my vegetables. Thanks for coming to our organic garden party. What's your experience with growing sunflowers with your vegetables? I would love to hear your experience.